know you can't take me in.
Well, remember, it's 2:40. You can start.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first, before I go into my presentation, I want to draw attention and some comparison to some complaints that I've been hearing in the House. I heard none other than the Honorable Minister Priya Manichan stood to her feet in this House a few days ago, and she read the standing order cautioning when persons are reading their speech. But the minister is only selective in when she see people reading speech. Because the minister was sitting right there, sir, yesterday, when none other...
Okay, I can't allow you to go down that path. You have to direct that to me.
Okay.
Okay? She rose on a point of order which I allowed. I have observed so many persons violating that standing order still, and especially those who are doing their first speech in the National Assembly. I'm flexing a bit. So we've seen examples last night, and I don't want to say how recent also. So please, when you are going to take on what is said officially and what is said unofficially in the House, you're directing it to the Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
You're getting
Speaker.
back your time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that you asked me to direct it to you, sir, because I would like to direct to you. It was none other than the Honorable Minister Pauline Sakai, somebody that has been in this House since I was 5 years old, stood yesterday and read from her speech almost in entirety. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2026. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2026 would bring the total budgetary allocation to the PPP from 2020 to 2026 at $6.1 trillion. Mr. Speaker, that is more than $5 trillion more than the AP&U coalition spent during our time in office. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to highlight to the public that Budget 2026 has a deficit of $448.9 billion. Mr. Speaker, that by itself is $148.2 billion more than the largest budget the AP&U coalition ever spent. Mr. Speaker, but even with all that money, the PPP is failing to deliver where it matters most. Mr. Speaker, when we're talking about government and government allocations, we expect government ministers, in particular when we listen to the budget presentation by the Honorable Minister, Dr. Ashni Kumar Singh, to be focusing heavily and primarily on the most vulnerable people in society in this country. But when it comes to the protection of the most vulnerable people in society, the PPP always is found wanting, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, over the last 2 days, we've heard many presentations. It started with all the government ministers coming to the floor and being very theatrical, because that's what they're good at. They come to the floor and they treat here as though it's an exhibition site in which they come and they just fluff and bluff and don't get into the substance of the budget and what the fine print actually says, sir. But Mr. Speaker, I want to say today that it is important for us to take our time to study, to learn. Mr. Schumann came here and he said, persons don't like to read. I think Mr. Schumann was referring to himself, sir. But today we're going to take persons through the documentation that is presented, not just only to this house, but by the government of Guyana on every other website available. Because when it comes to data, we search for it, because we know you're not going to come and bring the things to this house that is actually beneficial for the people of this country. Mr. Speaker, when I read for my master's in public administration at the University of Guyana, there was a course we did called public policy. And public policy would have taught you and anybody else in this house that you just don't look at policy formulation and implementation, but you have to follow through to the very end, and we have to do the evaluation, because there, sir, is where we actually can see if the outcome that those policies had desirous of bringing was actually realized. The PPP never follows through when it comes to those things. They never do the evaluation. And sorry, even the times that they do the evaluation, they do not bring the record to the house, because they're always found wanting when it comes to the evaluation. Mr. Speaker, I want to say to you that I'm going to focus on two areas today. And the first thing I want to focus on is the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs. Mr. Speaker, the indigenous people in this country is a minority group, sir. Mr. Speaker, we have very late, very, very late, but we have it nevertheless, the preliminary report on the Guyana National Population and Housing Census of 2022. If we were to turn our attention, sir, to table 1.13, we would see here, sir, that when it comes to the hinterland population accounted for 112,822 persons. So when it comes to the average household size of the hinterland, we're going to see it accounted for 4.24, sir. 4.24, and I want to tell persons this, is the second highest. When you go to the region is 4.58 for region 1 alone. 4.58, that is the average household size. Now the census went on to say, it says, meanwhile, the consistently high household size for the hinterland regions were expected, for these are regions that are predominantly inhabited by the indigenous population, who have historically recorded a higher household size relative to the rest of the country. Sir, these numbers are not presented to us just like this. It's presented to us for our analysis, sir. And there are persons in this house, particularly in the PPP, that I have to speak to today. You know, the Honorable Prime Minister, Mark Phillips, just asked, what's the point you're making? Well, Mark Phillips, Honorable Member, listen carefully. We have listened over the last 2 days in this house. We heard members on this side of the house, and I would call Mr. LaCruz out as an example. He spoke about the living standards of indigenous people. He was rebutted heavily by none other than the Minister of Amerindian Affairs that went out to the public and came to this very podium on the floor of this house and sought to defend the fact that in the hinterland, persons are living in houses with truly leaves. Right? And as the Honorable Minister right now is shouting, that's the people culture, I would like to tell persons here today, and the indigenous community that is listening to me right now, not because you're born as an indigenous person in this country should subject you to a life of poverty. That should never be the case. There is nobody that can come here and say otherwise. You know, the minister went on, sir. The Minister of Amerindian Affairs went on, and she quoted and she called the name of an individual. She said, Luana Augustus messaged her at 1 something in the morning and told her how she felt it offensive and all of that. Well, sir, I would like to put to this house, the 592 Comment Association, in collaboration with the Facebook investigators. They went and did their own research when it comes to that individual. And you know what they found, sir? That she don't live in no house with no truly leaf roof. The minister don't live in a house like that. Lennox Schumann doesn't live in a house like that. Alester Charlie does not live in a house like that. Colin Crowell doesn't live in a house like that. How dare you come to this house and subject indigenous people by using culture as a means to suppress our economic advancement in this country with $1 trillion budget? You want to come and show culture. When is it? I have never once heard any member of the PPPC government coming to this floor and advocating for people to go back to living in mud hut or low-G. But yet you come to this house and you ask indigenous people to be satisfied with substandard living while you drive around in your fancy car, the Minister of Agriculture in his big swimming pool. We must be honest. We must be honest, sir, when we come to this house and we make our representation. Mr. Speaker, housing is an important aspect when it comes to indigenous communities, because that number that I gave you before, indigenous people do not like living in crowded households, but that is their economic situation. That is their economic situation. So you cannot go out there and plaster it as culture, because that is not what culture is, sir. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to health care, you know, the Honorable Minister of Amerindian Affairs went out and she said, if you're not being calm, you're not being no. Well, I would like to tell the Honorable Minister of Amerindian Affairs that I was there. And when I speak on these matters, I speak of things I saw firsthand. Health care, sir. I went to Kaikan. I went and visited the health center. It looked like death itself. We open a door, bats coming out flying at you. That is the legacy of the PPP, and that is a few months ago. Trillions of dollars spent in this country, and the indigenous people are being left behind. So don't come here and purport to tell us that you know what is good for indigenous people in this country, sir. Mr. Speaker, I have to race through these things right now, sir, but I want to touch on a very important aspect. I want to touch on education, sir. I have to touch on education, as my colleague said. Don't forget it. And sir, like the member said, Honorable Schumann, he said read, and I would encourage him to go and read as well. Because sir, these people in the PPP continue to spend trillions of dollars, and they are delivering less to the people of this country, sir. Sir, this came from the Ministry of Education website, and I'm going to lay over all of these documents. Sir, when it comes to region number 1, you remember I said the largest budget that we ever had was $30.7 billion, the total budget, largest total budget for the APNU coalition. Sir, the ministry have up some stats here, the Ministry of Education. They have stats from 2016 to 2024, and I want the nation to know they are spending money and delivering less. That is the legacy of the PPP. Sir, in 2016, the APNU coalition's budget was 230 billion. 230. Sir, in 2024, the PPP budget was $1.145 trillion. So let me give you the stats from the hinterland. When it comes to mathematics in Region 1, 2016, we had 20% pass in mathematics in Region 1, 2016. When it comes to 2024, the same Region 1, 9% pass under the PPP administration. When it comes to mathematics pass in Region 7, in 2016, 18% pass. In 2024, 14% pass. When it comes to mathematics pass in Region 8, in 2016, 12% pass. 2024, 3% pass. When it comes to mathematics pass in region number 9, 2016, 24%, 2024, 7%. This is the legacy of the PPP. So when they come to this house and they purport to be spending a lot of money, they all say this is the biggest budget ever. But I asked the Minister of Education to get down to the stats and actually deliver to the people of this country, sir. Mr. Speaker, they continue to talk about who knows to read the budget and who don't know to read the budget, but I think they should start reading their own budget, sir.
Honorable Member, I just needed to give you some stats before I ask that you get an extension. You started at 240, you should have ended at 245, but I gave you back the minute that I took from you. That's 246, which is now you've used up 100% of your initial allocation. You need an extension to conclude.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I rise to ask for the honorable member to be given an extension of 5 minutes.
Thank you. Two things. First of all, visitors to the chamber are not allowed past the signs that we have. So please, the honorable MPs, if somebody come to you, just immediately wave them. You can't do that. And that particular person continues to clap, shout down members yesterday. Well, this is the second warning the person is getting. The second warning. And to both chief whips, what I'll do from now, I will indicate that the person's initial allocation is up and I'm allowing 5 more minutes to conclude rather than be interjecting. Okay? Honorable member, your extra 5 minutes start at 2:58.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if we look to volume 2 of the estimates, one of the indicators that we're looking at under the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, Community Development and Empowerment, we see here, sir, proportion of villages implementing their village sustainable plans. Now, the minister would have stood in this house and she would have spoke highly about these programs. And she said, oh, they're doing such a phenomenal job. But when it comes to the stats, sir, as reported in their budget that was given to us, 2025, out of 247 implemented, only 125 was implemented, sir. So when they come to this house and they speak so grand about all the wonderful things that they are doing, sir, I want to say that they are found wanting tremendously, sir. Mr. Speaker, I want to draw your attention to some other stats. You know, the honorable member, Ashley Singh, came and he read and he fluffed and he bluffed in this book. But there's something called the fine print, sir, and I want to go through some of the fine prints. Sir, when it comes to healthcare, particularly the nutritional status of children under 5 as a percentage of age group, sir, Severely malnourished was in 2021 0.4. In 2025, sir, it was 0.5. How can a government come to this house, say they are doing exceptional, spending trillions of dollars, and after all of that expenditure, more children are starving in this country than they were under the APNU coalition without 1 cent of oil money, sir? These are their stats. They can't dispute it. Moderately malnourished was 1.0 2021. Now it is 1.5 in 2025, sir. These are the data that we have. They talk so much. The honorable member there, Mark Phillips, will tell you about power generation. So if you come to this book, you would see in 2025, we had less power generation than we did in 2024. This is reported in this document, sir. But sir, very, very important statistic that we need to look at. You would see here, sir.
Read the budget. Go and read the budget.
Mr. Speaker, when it comes to our population growth, Mr. Speaker, the population growth rate in 2021 was 1.5. That growth rate went 2022, 1.9, 2023, 2.3. Then in 2024, it went to 5.7, and 2025, it went to 5.6. But sorry if you to look at our birth rate in this country. Our birth rate declined from in 2021, 19.4 to 2025, 10.5. So you know what they're going to say, sir? I think it was the Honorable Minister Vikram Bharat that said people are now running back to this country, sir. He said that they didn't see a need to run back to this country before, and I thought the Honorable Minister must have missed the point that the PPP was in government for 23 years before 2015, and persons did not come to this country then. But sir, that is not the case. He can't say people coming back for good times. You know why? Because the data is saying something else. And in their own preliminary census report, the PPP administration is saying that they cannot account for the amount of migrants in this country. They are saying that there is over 30,000 undocumented Venezuelans living in Guyana right now. So when they come to this house and they seek to lecture us about what we are doing wrong, this never happened under us, sir. This is their legacy, and they will continue to see these things, sir. We will continue to see these things because of the incompetence of these people, sir. Mr. Speaker, no amount of money that is thrown at incompetence can cure that disease. The PPP is an incompetent bunch of people, sir. They want to come and talk about who reads the budget. I think they don't read the budget themselves, sir. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I hear the Honorable Member Kwame McCoy shouting across. Mr. Speaker, if you go up to Yarracabra, you will see 10 acres of land being developed by him, sir, and he got a guard hut 200 feet high with an incline of 70 degrees, sir. That is the man, that is what he does. He doesn't solve this country's interests, sir. Mr. Speaker, I want to say to this honorable house that these data presented by the government, they're serious, sir. And I want to say to the PPP administration, particularly persons dealing with Amerindian affairs, that we need to be serious. We cannot be spending trillions of dollars and not delivering to the people. I want to say to the indigenous people, you will continue to have representation, and no failure of representation coming from the PPP would subject you to a life that you have to live in economic